Hey everybody, George here, and welcome back to the channel. So one of the most common questions I'm asked regarding betta fish is, can they live in a communal tank? And the answer to that is yes and no. So that doesn't really answer your question at all. So to elaborate on that a little bit further, I want to talk about a couple of different things that qualify a betta fish to live in a communal tank, as to whether or not you will have success with that or if it will be a problem for you long term. And the first thing you want to talk about is how big the tank is. If you have a tank that is perhaps 5 gallons and you want to put a betta fish in there along with, for example, what I have in front of me here, these are small bloodfin tetras. I have found that this particular species of tetra does really, really well with koi bettas. Now, to elaborate that a little bit further, I have also found that the same species of tetra, the bloodfin tetra, does not do well with several other varieties of betta that I have tried with them in the past. Now, I don't know why this is, but for some reason the koi betta will not be aggressive towards the bloodfin tetra, and the bloodfin tetra does not appear to have a reason to feel uncomfortable in the same tank with a koi betta. Now, having said that, you still need to be careful about putting any fish with a betta fish without really knowing the temperament of that particular fish. In other words, watching very closely from the moment you put him in the tank for perhaps a week or so, as to see if there's any fin nipping going on from the fish towards the betta or the betta towards the fish, to take time to make a video of your fish and your betta when you're not in the room, to see if there's any aggressive behaviors going on that you may not see when you're in the room, such as the betta fish chasing the bloodfin tetras or whatever fish you might have in that tank. I'm just using this particular tank as an example because it's the only betta tank that I have that is a communal tank with a betta and other fish in it. So, having said that, it's very important that you pay attention to the behaviors that are going on. A lot of times, these behaviors don't happen when you're in the room and are not displayed until the fish are not focused on you, but rather focused on each other. So I have done this. I have taken videos of these fish interacting with each other when I'm not in the room, just to see what their behaviors will be, and I have found that they're no different than when I'm in the room. So in other words, this koi betta in this tank, along with these bloodfin tetras, do not seem to have any kind of aggression towards each other, regardless of whether I'm in the room or I'm not in the room. It just seems to be that they get along with each other regardless of the situation. Now, I have, like I said, tried this with other betta fish with this same species of tetra, and it hasn't worked out at all. Either the betta has gone after the bloodfin tetra, or the bloodfin tetra will nip at the tails and fin of the betta fish. So you really have to look at this as a individual situation. In other words, whatever you're experiencing may not work for someone else. So you can't truly tell someone, yes, a koi betta is always going to work with a bloodfin tetra, because that's not the case at all. As I've said, this particular koi betta is very docile. He does not have any aggressive tendencies towards the other fish in the tank. I'm not sure if it's the right balance that we've accidentally happened upon here, or if there's something else to it. But the bottom line is that this fish is definitely not aggressive towards these tetras. I haven't seen it on film that I've taken without being in the room, or I have not witnessed it with me being in the room and watching the fish. I just have not seen that kind of thing going on at all. So it really is a case-by-case situation. Now, that's something we've always talked about. That's something I've always known. It's not new to me that some betta fish can live in a communal situation, but it is something that I would recommend highly that you are very, very cognizant of the fact that they're all different and the situations are all different. Now, if you want to take and try a koi betta with this particular coloring here and put some bloodfin tetras in with the tank with the betta fish, and we also do have in here a Siamese algae eater, and there is a small I think it is, and I can't find them right now, but I do believe that there is a small pleco in here that is an albino dwarf pleco, but I'm not seeing him right now. I know that he's in here somewhere. I know that he is healthy and in here because I've seen him as early as this morning. They're just good at hiding, typically on the back side of a piece of wood or something like that. So anyways, he is in here. I've never had any problems with that particular fish being in here either. And it's just all seems to have worked out. I'm not saying that this whole scenario here would work out 100% of the time. What I am saying is that in my particular situation, I have found this to work, and I've had no problems. Now, you will see the Siamese sometimes come up against the betta and even occasionally latch onto the side of the betta as if they were almost suctioning themselves to the side of the betta fish. But this is more of a behavior that I've noticed that the Siamese algae eater is doing simply as a reminder to the betta fish that he's there and he's in his territory and that sort of thing. But it's not something I see very often. It's not something that I'm worried about because there's never been any damage to the fish, either one. So it's like I said, it's not something that I'm all that concerned about. As far as eating goes, the problem you're going to have with these fish and eating is the koi betta is a much slower moving fish and is not going to be an aggressive eater. So you're going to have to get some food that is a floating type food that is just slightly big enough to where the other fish aren't going to gobble it down really fast, and the betta is going to, because they have a larger mouth, be able to fit that food within them. Now, as far as temperature goes in this tank, you're running at about 78 to 80 degrees. The lighting in here, of course, is low lighting, and of course the water movement is very, very slow moving because betta fish do not like fast moving water, as we know, and so this is a great balance here. Anyways, I wanted to talk about this because I thought it was important. Several people had asked me about it, and I wanted to kind of clear the air on how I am doing this with this communal tank and to make sure that everyone understands that when you do this, it's not 100% guarantee that it's going to work out, but you can say with some certainty that the fish is probably, if the conditions are proper, the fish is probably going to do okay with certain types of tetras and making sure that they're not a huge group. Like I said, 5 to 7. In this particular group here, I have 5. I wouldn't go any bigger than that just because there isn't any reason to, and the fish would obviously max out the tank on the biofilter. Now, I do water changes 2-3 times a week on this tank, so we don't have to worry about water conditions very well. very often, excuse me, because we are fulfilling the obligation of the water changes and so forth. Anyways, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section right down here somewhere, down in this area. And always hit the bell up here for any new videos that might be coming out. And make sure you do like and subscribe, and I always appreciate that. Got some great new content coming up over the next few weeks. I'm kind of excited about a couple of 20-gallon cubes that I'm going to be messing around with. These are very unique cubes that Waterbox has sent me to unbox and work with and scape, and I'll be doing that over the next couple of weeks. So I look forward to talking to you, and we'll be getting some new content out soon. So until then, take care, and we'll talk again soon.